Welcome back, my DIY nomads. Another good day to be in the workshop, and what we need to do today is tackle the rest of the drawers. So I thought today I would go into a bit more depth about how I made the last drawer, because the last one was really just making the frame, getting a drawer in there and testing it. Today I'll show you a bit more about how I made that drawer. I'll then make the top one. I luckily actually worked out quite well, but I used some of the pieces of the third drawer, the bottom drawer, for the middle drawer that's in there at the moment, and I'm going to be using a couple of more pieces for the top drawer, but I need to make a whole new drawer for the one below anyway, because it's a completely different dimension. It's actually like a more of a really deep one. So let's get cracking. Let's build this top drawer exactly the same as the other one. I'm going to build it exactly the same way, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So here are my four pieces for the drawer. We've got the two sides that are the same. Basically, if there was a sheet of plywood, this is the full width, the whole 1.22 meters or 122 centimeters. And then they are, I'll show you how tall they are. Yet again, they are 17 tall. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to be using my circular saw for this. You could use a router, like a proper actual big boy router, or even like a Dremel, and gouge it out. But honestly, I have used a router and it does take a long time. Like, routers can be quite temperamental. I mean, you can obviously do the exactly same thing as what I'm doing with the circular saw here. I just personally prefer using the circular saw. I find it's a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. There's a lot less like rolling resistance. But mentioned before in the previous video, so if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. I'm going to cut two lines with the circular saw to create about a 4mm tool cut, and the depth of the cut is going to be about 7mm, because I want the drawers to cut in about 5, and I want a bit of tolerance so that it's not like ridiculously stiff trying to push these bits in, because I want it to be so that in the future, if the bottom gets mangled, because it is only going to be 3mm ply, it's going to be 3mm ply, so if the bottom does get mangled or damaged, I can unscrew the front, take that piece out, cut a new piece and slide a new piece back in. Easy peasy. Right, so below us here, just here, is the piece of ply that will be the base, the bottom of the drawer that we're making. Now, the way that I've measured this out is that I've had to know how the drawer is going together. So you've got the two sort of side pieces, and the ends are not going to go on the outside like this. They're going on the inside like this. So the wall comes up like this, and they're going to get screwed in from the sides here. So what I did at this point was I measured the full width of this. I took that, and do you remember earlier I said I cut these 7mm deep, but that's because I wanted them to be inset, the bottom bit to be inset by 5mm. So what I'm going to do is, to the width of this, I'm going to add 1 centimeter, and that will give me the width of the piece of ply that I need. Now, in this configuration, to get the length is the trickier one. So this is 18mm ply, so you've got to remember that this is going to be 18mm that is going to be needed for this next equation. So basically I measured up there, the sides are 122 centimeters long. So I'm just going to literally cut yet again another sliver off of a full sheet, and then I'm going to trim off the end so it's the right length. I've got the 18 mils budging in each end, so I'm going to take 122 minus 1.8, then minus 1.8 again, so 3.6 in total, which should be 118.4. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes. Then I'm going to add back onto that a centimetre, so that I've got the 5mm inlay. So it's 119.4, and that's how long I'm going to cut my piece of wood. I'm adding the 1 centimetre because I need 5mm in each end to go into the front and back of the drawer, so that's where the 1 centimetre comes from. Right, so the frame is together. What I need to do is take off one end and slide the bottom piece in. Now I totally understand this might not be the strongest way that I could do this. Screwing from the side here is probably considered quite a weak joint, but as soon as you add the bottom piece into that, it stops it sort of like, shall we say, rhombusing and breaking apart. And what I'll probably do is I'll add a third screw in each corner, so it's like one in the top, one in the center, one in the bottom. Got the top drawer in. First thing you're going to notice is the fact that it's wider than the middle one. That's because the middle one had to be that width so I could get the sliders either side. This one is going to be running on 2 long slats of 18mm ply, and I'm going to keep it super basic, just that, like just sliding in and out, and that should be golden. All I'm going to do is, I've just obviously got it resting on top of this drawer, I'm going to push it near the top, and this will just allow enough finger space on both top and bottom. I know there's going to be frontage on it, but I just want like a little bit of a gap either side. It'll just mean that if there's anything in either of the drawers that's overflowing just over the top, it's not going to get pinched by the underside of any of the drawers. And as I said, super basic. These are just the bits of ply that I cut, and I'm going to sand the top, well, what I'm going to put as the top edge really, really well so it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to take the sacrificial candle and once the edge is smooth, I'm going to rub it all down, wax it up so it's really nice and glidey, if that is a term, and yeah, then this is what my drawer is going to run on, my slide out on. The drawer is now in. It works really well. That, I tell you what, the wax makes such a difference. It glides out so easily. What you saw there previously was that I gave it like a few runs up and down the length, and then I heat gunned it, just sort of like really let the wax embed and try and fill in the grain a bit more. Then I went over again just to give it as much possible waxing as I can. This gap here, there's going to be from the back, there's going to be my electric scooter is going to sort of be in this gap, but I'm just questioning this width here. I need to go back and measure up to see if this whole thing needs to be moved over to the right a bit more. And if that's the case, that means I can't build a bottom drawer just yet, because if I make a full-fledged one and I need to budget over a couple of centimetres, I'm going to have to readjust the whole width of the drawer anyway, because the wheel arch is going to start to cut in. So next step is head home, measure that up, come back to the workshop, sort this bottom drawer out. Must admit, it's quite cosy being in the workshop while it's raining outside. So I've got the scooter here with me. I don't know if I've showed you this before, but I got this electric scooter a while back, quite a while back actually. How badass is that thing? It's like a fat wheeled thing I imported from China. So the scooter is going to slot in a slot at the back, and it's going to be on basically a reinforced board that will pull out and then go down, so it acts as like a ramp to pull off of it. It will then also, the scooter itself will be sort of like mounted to that board, so it doesn't like move around and like obviously just fall off the back of that ramp straight away. And then onto that there will be a charging point for the scooter at all times on that board, so I can just put it on the ramp, plug it in, stow it, and then every time we rock up somewhere, as long as the inverter's on, it will be fully charged and ready to go. Now the reason of putting so much great effort into getting this scooter into the van is so that in the Transit Custom that I had before, when we went around Europe, it became very obvious that that's a small van as well. I know it's the long wheelbase, but it's a small van. And we still found it annoying going to a small town that we wanted to explore and get supplies from, and then like not being able to park at all. But we could quite easily park like 1 mile out of town, easy. There'd be plenty of places to park and camp. And this will just bridge that gap, so it will allow us to park outside of town with a cool camping spot, and then lock up the van, take the scooter into town, park up anywhere, get supplies, come back. It can take both me and Soph quite comfortably, and it hammers hills really well, which is really good. So that's my ultimate goal for the super cozy luxury van life. Do you guys remember these pallet boxes that I made up before? Well, I don't really want to just have to bin them or lose them. I'm going to see if I can fit one of these two or both on the other side where there's a big gap. Like it'll probably only just be the blue one on, like if you're looking at the rear on the right hand side. So there'll be drawers, scooter, blue drawer. But this, funny enough, almost, I just need to reduce the width, but almost fits perfectly in the drawer slot already. And you know me by now, I hate waste. I much prefer to recycle. There's no point me just basically throwing away or bashing up these things when they're proven to stand the test of time. They're strong, actually quite lightweight. So all I need to do is reduce the width of this red one, and I can slot it straight into the gap straight away. And then if I need to, I can clad the front, and they all look the same. Doesn't matter that it's red pallet wood when I pull it out. I don't give a crap. But when it's like stowed away, it could look just as uniform as all the other drawers. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. this area is finally now filled, and that is going to be plenty of really useful storage. Obviously I'm nowhere near done. What I'm going to do, what I was thinking actually was that I've got all the leftover cladding from the walls previously, and I was going to create the extra bit of box I need for the length of the scooter to fit in here, but really I was going to clad the whole front in the same cladding, and then have these drawers all, you know, all that frontage in a nice pine softwood cladding. I think that would work really well. Oh, and this table, by the way, was just there for tax purposes so that I can reclassify this as a camper van. So a little sad news, other than me finishing the drawers, is that I'm finally having to retire my old Bosch jigsaw. This jigsaw has helped me convert my previous van, this van, and now back onto the second version of this van. I'm just going to retiring it. It's not actually completely broken, but when you plug it in, it starts to go like half ham on power, so it's just like already cutting, which isn't great. So I've had to upgrade it, and I've got a brand new one now from Evolution. I quite like their tools. They're really affordable and they seem to work quite well. But this is going to go into our home tool kit and retire and sit for the rest of its days in a nice tool bag, getting used occasionally. I just pre-cut some test pieces, and this is what my vision is sort of going to look like. The box on the side, I need to do some more measurements, but it doesn't matter anyway because these pieces of cladding were never going to go fully along the way anyway because they're the front of the drawers. So there's going to be a line, sort of cut line there, but I'm going to try and keep it as hidden as possible. This area now, from what it was before, it really looks nice and uniform. I know there's obviously the two little red tassel bits there. There might be something I can do in regards to changing those colours to like white, like a white wrapping sort of thing. I might be able to pull those off and change them. But it looks good. I really like it. The 3 drawers are done. I'm super stoked with them. They look really good, and I really do like the cladding. I think that is actually a really good shout. Next week, what I plan to do is tackle the shower. I'm planning to make a custom shower tray and make sure it's really watertight. I've ordered a water tank, a wastewater tank that mounts underneath the van. I quite like the idea because, I mean, otherwise it sort of only works out that way anyway, because the only other way to collect the shower water, unless it just drips onto the ground, would be to then somehow re-pump it back up into the van to a wastewater tank, which is completely pointless. So I might as well just let it gravity feed into a wastewater tank, which is good. And yeah, I'm planning to, instead of having a physical door, I'm going to get a shower curtain, because it just eliminates a lot of variables, and trying to make a super accurate watertight door is going to be very precise work in an environment where there are a lot of variables. So shower curtain makes it a lot easier, and also means that I don't have to have like a massive swinging door that comes out into the internal space every time someone wants to use the toilet or have a shower, which is fine, which is good. Yeah, So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe, leave a thumbs up. It really does, like every YouTuber says, it really does actually help out. It really does. And I'll hopefully catch all of you DIY nomads next week.